Call the meeting to order at 7:01. Farmington Inland Wetlands Commission for February 18th, 2026. And I will ask Bruce to call the roll, please.
All right. Ned Statchin,
Here.
Robert Eisner, David Fox,
Here.
Rich Berlandi,
Here.
Dan Popovic,
Here.
Andre Simons,
Present.
Mark Simpson,
Here.
Elena Carveth,
Here.
and Francis Roth.
Present.
Perfect. All right, Chair.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody, from our unplanned vacation. And I just want to take a moment to welcome Frank Roth to the commission and thank you for your service to the town. And with that, let's get going. First item on the agenda is 94 Alpine Drive. I see the applicants here. I think I saw him up there somewhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Why don't you give us a summary of your project and give us what your intentions are for the property.
Yes, thank you. My name is Peter Sedevendemi. I am the homeowner at 94 Alpine Drive in Unionville. And we actually went last night to the zoning board and received approval for the variance of the setbacks on the rear and side yard setbacks for an in-ground pool. The reason that we applied for a variance is because we have a unique situation where our lot is bisected by the town lines of Farmington and Burlington. So that limits the location of where we can place the in-ground pool. The spot that you see that is designated on the map is the only permitted spot that we could use. I have also, prior to the meeting last night, I did reach out to the town of Burlington, to their zoning enforcement officer as well, and confirmed and actually was denied putting looking at putting the pool in the front yard on the Burlington property where there's more room and we could abide by the setbacks. However, that is not permitted due to this type of structure being in the front yard. Again, leading back to this is the only spot we could really put one due to the uniqueness of our property on the two town lines. So that's where we are. And during the process of the zoning committee getting everything together for the meeting, it was realized that fairly recently it was discovered that there are wetlands back there. Those were discovered, I guess, a year or two ago when Stevens Circle was being those remaining houses on Stevens Circle. A little down at the bottom of the screen, that cul-de-sac at the bottom of the screen is Steven. No, not that one. That one. That's Stevens Circle. Apparently those were not realized to be wetlands until they looked into developing Stevens Circle. So I guess that came to light, and then that's why I'm here meeting with you guys tonight.
I also uploaded some photos that I guess you provided to the zoning board.
I believe so.
These some owner photos. These
Well, I will acknowledge that. Yes, that's them.
yeah, Garrett had shared these with me this morning.
Yes,
So,
that's the back corner of the yard facing the house, as you can see with the where the yellow outline of the pool would go within our fenced-in area. We just needed to have a decreased setback.
and
Okay.
shown no the fence up. No, the fence isn't on there now. So
The fence is essentially the property line.
Hmm.
There's maybe a foot on the other side of the fence, but essentially the fence is the property line.
I'm not sure if I see a fence in there.
right here.
On the picture that's on, it's a black
Yeah.
a black aluminum one that
Oh,
goes.
okay, I see it now. And that's the corner you want to build the
Where the grass
pool
is.
in?
Yes. It's not going all the way to the corner. We just have to encroach on the 25-foot and 50-foot setbacks to shorten them to, I believe it was 12 and 10 feet. So we just have to get a little closer. We're not going all the way.
Okay. And I think how close is the construction area to the wetlands?
Um, it's within, I want to say it's 140. Give me a second. Let me do this. You see the GIS on your screen now?
Yeah.
Just want to make sure because it's taking it from my office today. First time our development conference room is still under, they're still, IT is still working on it. We're getting everything hooked up. So feet, pools roughly here.
Yes.
So I think the wetlands are mapped down in here. So it's like roughly,
Okay.
yeah, it's like right in here, I think, where the wetlands hold.
All right.
Let's say 120 feet or so.
Now, on that view right there, what's the other stuff that's constructed in the backyard? Like if you, I can
Uh,
just see the outlines of buildings or something.
It's a patio. It's a patio down at the
oh,
bottom,
sorry, on
and
the
then
property. Okay, I got you.
yeah, it's a patio and a pergola.
Mhm.
Okay.
And there's the pool location over here.
All right. So those are I'm just wondering if any thought went into putting it on the other side of the yard to keep it even further away from the inland wetlands. But
Oh, it was considered, but as we spoke last night at the variance committee, the yard slopes. It's a continuous slope from one side to the other. So where
Uh-huh.
we picked it is the most level of the entire backyard.
okay. All right. Hmm. Well, that's all the questions I have. Let's see if the commission has any other questions. Andre,
I do not have any questions.
okay. Rich Berlandi,
No questions for me. Thank you.
Dave Fox.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm it's, the site is all grass. You're not gonna cut any more trees.
There's one tree within the fence line of our yard currently that will have to come down, but nothing beyond the fence line. That tree right there will
Just
come
that
down,
tree?
but
Okay.
nothing beyond the fence line.
And, the material that's excavated, is that gonna be trucked off site?
Whatever's not needed, yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Robert Eisner's not here. Dan Popovic,
No questions.
Mark Simpson.
Um, Not really any questions, just let the homeowner know that any type of removal of water from the pool can't be drained out, because that would head down to, I assume it would head towards the wetlands. So any type of removal of water from a pool is sensitive to the wetlands. So I would not advise doing that. And 120 feet, that's pretty far away. So I don't think it's encroaching that much to the wetlands, as long as we don't have spillage out of the pool. But that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Alana?
Uh, yeah, my question would be, do we know the topography of the area? Like, does the yard slope considerably towards the wetlands? Or is it relatively flat?
So the pool's going in here, so there is a gentle slope down through here. And as you could see, this area drains here, this area drains here, so it all comes down into that area. You're probably talking 1 foot contours. Go. Shoot. Um, yeah, 1 second. You're talking about a 10% slope, approximately.
Okay.
All right, 8 to 10% probably, based on my quick calc there.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Frank Roth?
No questions at the time.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, it looks pretty straightforward, so I think the first thing we'll do is, I here entertain a motion, uh, to accept the application.
So moved, Mark.
Second, Andre.
Okay. Motion been made and seconded to accept the application. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Chair,
Opposed? Oh,
Chair, I forgot one thing, a point of order. I had a
Yep.
note, I totally missed right over. it. We have to appoint an alternate for Commissioner Eisner.
oh, yeah, right, huh? Okay, the chair will appoint Alana Carveth, to sit in for Robert Eisner.
Thank you. All set.
Okay, so, the motion to accept the application passes. I don't think, we need, does anybody think that we need a site visit for this?
No site visit from Mark.
No.
No
Okay,
for Andre.
No for Rich, and I don't think this is a significant activity.
Okay,
Dave will second both of those.
okay, well, we don't have a motion yet, so can I get a motion that, we do not need a sidewalk for this, please?
So moved.
Okay, and a second, please.
Second,
Second,
Mark.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded that we do not need a sidewalk. All those in favor say aye. Aye,
Aye.
opposed, abstain. That motion passes. One other thing I thought of, to the applicant, you're okay with the, requirements of using the silt control and straw wattles, for erosion control on this project? And that the, town would be, contacted to check the, erosion control before the construction starts?
Yes, is that a requirement of the board?
We could make it a requirement. I would just, if you have to
Oh,
work with the town to get this done, so,
Sure, I'm just trying to understand the process. I'm not arguing.
yeah. All right. And, I don't, Bruce, you had something on here about possibly shifting it to the south, but I didn't see a whole lot of area in that.
That was just for the commission to discuss.
Yeah.
The applicant did bring that up, saying that based on the slope of the property, they felt that was the best spot to it, so that's all
Okay.
it was.
All right, so the applications are made, since we don't need a sidewalk, I would chair would entertain a motion that this is not a significant event or significant project.
So moved.
Okay, motion been made in a second, please.
Second,
Okay. All right, motion made, seconded that this, is, not a significant project and a permitted use. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, and that passes. So,
Well,
Yep.
it doesn't pass, that all we're doing, this just, all we did is we accepted the application. We'll have to continue it to the March 4th. Is it March 4th is the next?
no, this was not a significant event.
Oh,
that
sorry.
motion.
I thought you had said it passes. I thought you meant that.
Yeah, the motion that this is not a significant event passed.
All right, I apologize. Okay.
That's all right. All right. So now, at our next meeting, we will vote to approve the application. And, good luck. Well, not good luck yet. Good luck at the next meeting.
Thank you. Is there anything additional I need to do between now and then?
No,
No.
there's nothing. You've addressed all the responses, so just make sure you attend the meeting just in case if there is any questions by any of the other commissioners. Okay?
Okay. Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just work with the town staff, when you have any questions, and always err on the side of caution. Call them and find out.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is Noble Energy Real Estate Holdings, Lot 8261 Fenneman Road. The applicant representatives here.
Yes.
Just make sure we get this started. Right. You see the presentation on your screen, Michael?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, just want to make sure. It's all yours. Go ahead.
Well, great. Well, thanks for having us tonight. I'm going to have Taylor do most of it, but I thought I'd just give you a quick introduction. I'm Michael Frisbee. I'm the owner of Noble Energy Real Estate Holdings and Noble Gas. Our offices are based in Hartford. We're a Connecticut family-owned business, building Noble gas stations all over Connecticut right now. We're building what we call the future of transportation. We have diesel, we have gas, we have EV chargers. We have our latest generation that has a coffee breakfast offering, a deli offering, the Frisbee's ice cream, as well as convenience store items. So we're excited about our opportunity to try to bring that to this location. And Solely Engineering's done a nice job designing a project that I think we can bring to Farmington and continue our path toward our goal of developing good commercial real estate in Connecticut that will help broaden our brand. So I'm here to just answer any questions you might have specifically about the business, but I'll let Taylor kind of take it from here for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Taylor Capel here from Solely Engineering. I also have Paul Rodriguez here with me as well. Also on the meeting here, Jackson Smith from our soil scientist, William Kenny Associates. He will be handling the portion of the wetland assessment and mitigation portion of this project. If you wouldn't mind switching over to the next slide, please. Okay, so what you see here is just an overall site plan of the existing conditions along with the proposed area. On the northeastern side of this parcel is where we are looking to develop, which is where the cursor is right now. This is along Fenneman Road in Farmington, and then Slater Road, which is actually in the city of New Britain. You can see the town line runs along the southeastern edge of the property and continues off to the west. The majority of this site is predominantly wetlands. There are 3 areas of wetlands, the largest being 50.2 acres, which accounts for, again, the majority of this property. There are also 2 smaller wetland pockets, one along Fenneman Road and one close to Slater Road. As well as the wetlands, you will see the blue line running across there is the FEMA flood line. It's a 100-year floodplain line. There is currently the way that the site drains is from east to westish up towards that where that FEMA flood line is. There is a channel there that then it runs along the 84 off-ramp and then flows under Fenneman Road off to Batterson Park Pond, which is off to the northeast, off of this map currently. If you could go to the next slide, please, Bruce. Thank you. This here is just a rendering of what we have proposed for the development at this site. The development will consist of 3 buildings and in this direction, north is off to the left of your screen here. On the north end, you have a proposed warehouse of 28,000 square feet. In the center of the development here is the fueling station with both diesel fueling pumps for, what was that?
No, no one
Oh, okay.
someone just called in.
Okay. So there are diesel fueling pumps where you can see kind of off to the left of the fueling station. Yep, right in there. And then your traditional car fueling pumps are off, yep, in front of the fueling station. The building there is about a 10,000 square foot building. On the in this the top right corner of this screen here, you'll see the proposed restaurant development up there, and that'll be about a 4,500 square foot restaurant building. The total parking on the entire lot will be 198 parking spaces. This will include 34 of the spaces for the trucks at the back of the warehouse there. And with that, we will have 10% of the parking spaces will have conduits ready for EV charging stations. As Mike had mentioned, EV is something that Noble is pushing. For access to the site, there will be 3 access drives. 2 of them will be along Fieneman Road, and 1 will be off of Slater Road coming in from New Britain. If you could please go to the next slide, Bruce. So this is our site plan. Again, this is just limited to the area that we are looking to develop within the parcel here. And as you can see on this screen, the blue line is the dark blue line is the wetlands. Yep, as Bruce is highlighting there. That outline there is of the main 50 plus acre wetlands down to the south of this. And you can see next to Slater Road off near the restaurant, there's a small isolated wetland pocket, which will be unaffected by the development. We will be not doing any impact in that area. And then the one area of wetlands that will be impacted is along Fieneman Road. Again, another isolated wetland pocket. For that wetland, and again, I'll let Jackson get into a little bit more of it when he speaks, but the direct impact will be approximately 3,700 square feet of that wetland area. We will be mitigating that through additional creation at that wetland, as well as an additional area down behind the warehouse. Bruce, if you wouldn't mind scrolling down. Yep, down in that area. Um, the lighter blue line, as you see, is the 100-foot upland review area line. As you can see, there's a good portion of the development within the upland review area. The closest construction that'll be happening near the wetlands would be the retaining wall running along the south drive there. It's about a 6-foot tall wall, and it'd be about 6 to 10 feet off the wetlands. If we can go to the next slide, please. So this here is the grading and drainage plan. The intent here is to follow similar flows as the existing conditions, relatively flowing east to west for the most part. The one difference is that I guess this will be the northeastern half of the development will be flowing towards, yep, to a underground detention system there, which is right where you've highlighted. And then the southwestern side will be flowing down to one over there. Correct. So again, we have 2 underground detention systems. The one closer to Fieneman Road will be an infiltrating system as well as discharge into that wetlands pocket that's being impacted and increased. And then the system behind the warehouse is a closed system, so more of a retention type system, which will outlet into the newly created wetlands pocket and eventually flow into the large wetlands at the rear of the property there. The overall peak flows will be reduced for all 2 through 100-year storms. And that is through the 2 underground systems, and then through the wetlands as well. One other thing to mention at the Fieneman Road, there we are proposing a additional curb cut, if you wouldn't mind zooming in, Bruce, near that driveway near the impacted wetlands.
Over here, okay.
Yep. So we are adding an additional curb cut there on the right-hand side. Where that's the access drive, just to the right of that, Bruce. Is again, this is the intent here is to capture some of the
Oh, it is.
roadway runoff.
Gotcha.
Currently there is a curb cut at the existing outlet of the wetlands here. So what happens is the water comes into the wetlands, and then there's a outlet pipe that runs underneath Fieneman Road across over to Batterson Park area and eventually over to Batterson Park Pond. So the intent here is to have the runoff come through the new proposed curb cut with a riprap swale down in through the wetlands pocket that we're mitigating. And again, this will help with some of the settling of oils and whatnot from the road. I believe that should cover everything on the grading and drainage. We could go to the next slide, please. Now we're getting into the soil erosion and sediment control plans. This will be split into two phases. The phase one will be mainly for the initial site clearing, as well as the rough grading. You can see in here there will be 4 temporary sediment traps. Yeah, that's one highlighted there, and then 3 along the bottom edge there. We will also be implementing silt fence with hay bale backing in order to protect all the wetlands during this time. And we will ensure that the wetlands are protected throughout the duration. There will be temporary construction fence along Slater and Fieneman Road, as well as 2 construction access drives, one off of Slater Road and one off Fieneman Road. These are in the place of the new site access drives at the ultimate development. In addition to that, where the area of the underground detention systems, these will be fenced off in order to not disturb any of the subgrade soils for once the systems are in place. That way we can maintain the infiltration rates, particularly for the one up at Fieneman Road. Yeah, I think that covers everything. If we could go to the next slide, please, Bruce. So again, this is the phase 2 for soil erosion sediment control. Again, we'll be maintaining the silt fence around the limit of disturbance. There will be one additional access drive, construction access entrance by the 3rd site access drive there. Any additional structures for storm drainage will have silt sacks installed when they are put in place. Again, the wetlands will be protected throughout the duration of construction. There will not be any disturbance beyond the approved area or where we're impacting that one wetlands pocket up by Fieneman Road. So no construction activity, equipment, material storage, or stockpiling within any of the wetlands areas. Next slide, please, Bruce. This here is our utility plan. The water, gas, electric, and telco services will all be coming off of Fieneman Road. For water, it's both domestic and fire service. This will be split into 2, taps off the main. One will be servicing the proposed warehouse, and the other one will service both the fueling station and the restaurant. The only other utility that won't be coming from there is the sanitary, because there is no sanitary within Fieneman Road. So for this, we are going to be connecting into an existing manhole in Slater Road, which is part of the city of New Britain. We have been in coordination with the city of New Britain's DPW, WPCA, and we are working through the design and connection to their system. We do have approval to connect through that, but again, we are still working through the design and ultimate ultimately the approvals through the town or city, sorry. Trying to think. One thing I would like to mention now with the City of New Britain, one of their stipulations for our connection to their system was that we would ensure that there's no future development beyond what we're proposing here. As part of that, we are going to be looking at a conservation easement for the majority of the site, which again will help with both the, again, no future development on the remainder of the site, as well as protecting the wetlands that encompasses the big portion of that area. I think that covers this one. If you could go to the next one, please, Bruce. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Jackson Smith from William Kenny Associates.
Perfect. Thank you, Taylor. For the record, my name is Jackson Smith. I'm a land use ecologist for William Kenny Associates based out of Fairfield, Connecticut. And our firm was retained to identify and delineate the on-site wetlands, as well as take a look at the proposed project and assess what impacts that might be to on-site wetlands and other natural resources. We completed this work in May and November of 2025. So to start off, this is a good map to show a big picture of the whole property here. We're looking at an 86-acre undeveloped property. Its primary vegetative cover, as you can see, is a broadleaf deciduous forest, relatively closed canopy comprised mostly of American beech, as well as various oaks and maples. And while we were on site, we identified 3 wetland watercourse systems. You'll obviously note the large wetland, we'll call it wetland A, on the western side of the development, or sorry, the parcel that takes up most of the acreage. I think Taylor said about 50 acres on site. That's a high functioning woodland wetland that contains forested seeps, wet meadows, as well as both intermittent and perennial water courses. It's primarily receiving surface water from the west side of 84 over from Deadwood Swamp, as well as shallow subsurface flows from throughout the site. The other 2 wetlands on site are much smaller, isolated depressional pockets. Those can be seen on the sides of Finneman Road as well as Slater Road. And the primary source of water for both of those is mostly road runoff, and albeit untreated road runoff that has a fairly high quantity of pollutants. That's the primary water source for those 2 depressional pockets. And so their capacity to perform typical wetland functions and values is significantly low when compared to the on-site larger wetland A. Also during the delineation, we noted 2 potential vernal pools areas. Those are on here as W3. And so since we had conducted our investigation sort of outside the typical vernal pool time, what we do is we look for common indicators. Those are, a depressed basin, water stained leaves, moss trim lines on trees, lack of ground covers. So we noted those 2 areas and called them out here on the map. Both of those are within that primary large wetland. The other 2 wetland systems, those small pockets on Finneman and Slater, we didn't know any physical characteristics that would indicate the seasonal water ponding in those. And in addition, I think it's important to note, again, that their primary water source is road runoff. So when you're dealing with sensitive species like we have in vernal pools, that's another contributing factor as to why we don't believe that those 2 are going to be vernal pools. As Taylor got into, the project has us filling about 3,700 square feet of that wetland system right up along Finneman Road. And that's for the construction of the access drive to enter into the northern portion of the site there. Ultimately, it was our conclusion that the project, despite its impacts to this system, will ultimately maintain or slightly improve the primary wetland functions at the property. And we came to this conclusion through the following. So first and foremost, we always want to look at alternatives. We looked at alternatives that would either eliminate the need to fill any portion of this wetland or shrink that filling. And we found that under this alternative, it would produce issues with truck queuing and access to the site for those trucks coming in along Finneman Road. And this was to an extent where we found the currently proposed drive is the most feasible and prudent design. So given that there's going to be impacts, we then looked at, okay, what is the extent of these direct impacts proposed? Again, Wetland C, we're primarily receiving untreated pollutant-laden stormwater from Finneman Road. As Taylor had started to mention, that stormwater is coming into the system on an existing curb cut. It's being dumped right down to the eastern side of that system, where there's a culvert heading underneath Finneman Road. So that water is being quickly washed away from the system and going to offsite wetlands. So there's not a lot of time for that water to sit within the wetland system and actually biofilter through the soil and provide those typical functions and values of a depressional wetland. In addition to that, if you want to zoom out on the site as a whole, looking at the site, we have found that if any wetland was going to be filled on the site, a small portion of this wetland up by Finneman Road is much better than any impacts that we would have to the higher functioning large wetland A. Nonetheless, we've come up with a mitigation plan to compensate for this loss, partial loss of wetland C, which, Bruce, I believe it's the next 2 slides up. From there, we get into the mitigation plan. So the prime, one more, please. Perfect. Thank you very much. So we're stopping that curb cut where it's dumping water and then flowing it immediately off site. And as Taylor mentioned, we're going to grab it from higher up on Finneman Road and then direct it into the wetland that we're expanding there. One of the most important features that we added to that expanded system is a low earth berm, which you can see running down the center of that system there. And that's going to serve almost as a track or a course for the water to be retained in the system for longer and access all portions of the system. And that's going to significantly increase the system's ability to both store storm and flood water as well as modify water quality. And assisting with that water quality modification is also the addition of native wet meadow ground covers and various native shrubs. In addition to this, we're also proposing the creation of a new wetland behind the warehouse. This is essentially going to be a low basin shape wetland where we're going to take the water from that detention system that Taylor had just mentioned and put it in there for its ability to biofilter out any pollutants. And that's taking the water, biofiltering, but also we're still allowing for those natural drainage patterns to occur so that water can run down to the larger wetland that you see to the south of it below in this image here. And lastly, one of the aspects that we put in the mitigation plan was the enhancement of wetland buffers with the installation of, I think we're doing a native meadow mix as well as a variety of native tree species as well around those areas. And for the last sort of concept of looking at the project as a whole, we took into account the 2 potential vernal pools that I discussed earlier. And through careful consideration of the location of the existing natural and human barriers, there's some human barriers being Finneman and Slater Road, which are already encroaching into some of the upland portions of that vernal pool resources that we have, as well as through the long-term protection of the site through this conservation easement. We found that there is enough valuable on-site land to the southwest of the proposed development that if these 2 vernal pools are functioning, We do not expect any adverse impacts to these species. So through all of this that I sort of went through in the best outline I could come up with, we did our alternatives analysis. We're moving to the direct impacts that are limited to a low quality, small wetland, and then incorporating a wetland mitigation plan to improve that wetland, as well as in the long term protect the larger, more valuable on-site wetland. It's our conclusion that the project will maintain or slightly improve the primary wetland functions at the property. So thank you for your time on that. And I think Taylor has a few additional slides for us about landscape and lighting plans.
Thanks, Jackson. Yeah, there's only a few more slides, just to kind of piggyback on Jackson there for our landscape design. Keep going. One more, Bruce. Thank you. Um, Similar to what Jackson was mentioning about planting native, that is what our intention is here, to plant native trees, shrubs, and throughout the site where we are removing any trees. We are also looking to maintain a good portion of trees along both Slater and then a small pocket along Fieneman Road as well. Again, this will, in order to reduce the impact of the existing plantings that are there. This will be, infilled with native trees and shrubs throughout the site. Last slide, Bruce, is our lighting plan. And just to kind of go over this briefly, all lighting will be down lighting per the town regulations for anything over 10 feet. The majority of the site will have 14-foot poles, which again is in line with the regulations. The one area behind the warehouse will have some taller poles up at 24 feet. Again, this is through the regulations. It was stated that the commission, this would be more for a zoning commission, but can approve of taller poles in that instance. And again, the lighting here is strictly for safety aspects of the site and accessibility. As you can see from the darker dash line running around the majority of the development there, that represents the 0.0 and 0.2 foot candle lines for the lighting. And then, yeah, the last slide is just again the rendering of the proposed development. I'd just like to say thank you for your time, and please let us know if you have any questions.
Okay. Thank you. A very thorough presentation. Appreciate it. I'm gonna hold my questions. I'll go through the commission and see who has any questions. Start with Andre.
For the taller lights, that is something that has to be done for just lighting up the entire area, or I'm just kind of curious.
It's for the area behind the warehouse where the truck parking, obviously those stalls are much larger, and so we don't have the lighting capability to place a pole in the middle of that area. And so the taller poles will be on the surrounding area, and again, it's just to safely light that parking area.
Okay, and then for the area that you're creating into a wetlands, what connection is that going to have again for the runoff and water that's going through? It's being treated. Was that what I heard and understood?
Jackson, you
Yes,
want
that's
to go?
taking so there's a subsurface detention system that's collecting the water from a large portion of the impervious surfaces on site. That is being, and Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong, pre-treated with a hydrodynamic separator. It's going
Correct.
to that subsurface detention system, and then that system is going to outlet to this created depressional wetland. And it eventually, it's very small, but in that bottom left corner there on the screen, that's going to overflow into this larger wetland after it's had time to sit in that newly created wetland for a little while.
Okay, I follow you. Sorry, when you presented it, I kind of got lost a little bit, so thank you for clarifying.
Uh, Going back to that spot right there, um, that additional wetland you're creating is in the FEMA floodplain. How is that going to affect how it operates?
Could zoom in a bit. I believe if I believe those in that area, there are two raised kind of uh, elevated areas. So the cut is actually not going to be, we're not cutting into necessarily within the FEMA below that line. We're still going to be elevated up above the base flood elevation.
So the flood can't back up into the underground sediment basin?
No, it should not be able to.
Okay. Thank you. All right, back to the commission. Rich Berlandi?
I find the mute button, I'll be doing so here. Um, I was kind of missing where is the hydrodynamic separator that you were talking about?
So right, if you stay right there, Bruce, yep, right there, the inlet into this system here, that's the hydrodynamic separator there. And then if we look up at the other system, you have two, one on either side, one, yep, one there, and nope, that's actually the outlet control,
here.
that one there, yep.
Okay. Um, where is the underground tankage?
The underground, what, for the fuel?
Yeah.
So right next to the fuel on either side of the refueling station, if you go down where the fueling station building is to the north, yep, right there. Those are the diesel tanks there, and then on the other side would be the regular fuel tanks on that side.
Okay. Are the catch basins going to have increased depth sumps, and what provisions are being made to remove hydrocarbons?
So you want me to take that one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we'll have the deep sump catch basins, and then we'll have a vortex unit to be able to capture anything that for runoffs. And we usually have about a thousand gallon vortex unit, depending on the size of the facility. And this is going to be a large one, so we'll have that size vortex unit included in there.
And you have a spill prevention plan, I would imagine.
Yeah, we do. Yep.
Okay. And from the wetland to your retaining wall, you have a distance of about, did I hear 6 feet? Is that what I heard?
Correct.
Separate.
No, it's a separation as well.
That seems awfully tight to me, but okay. That's all the questions I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave Fox?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions about the vernal pools. Are you guys going to be going out this spring to confirm that the two southern ones are in fact good vernal pools and that the two northern ones are not?
That's a good question. We would be, if that is what the commission would like in terms of assurances, that's definitely something we can do. I would say that right now, when taking these into account and considering impacts, we've kind of been under the assumption that they are functioning, right? And that is what we've based our conclusions on, is just to say we assume that they're functioning in the absence of these studies to confirm that. But we still feel like, though, even the development taking up a portion of what is shown on this map as the northern critical terrestrial habitat, due to the impacts already there from Finneman, Slater, and the 84 on-off ramp over there, we find that species are likely using more of a southwesterly buffer for a lot of their habitat, just because it hasn't been impacted by those. You see that, the backyard lawns to the right there, and then the road crossings. So our conclusions were based on the fact that we're assuming they're functioning as vernal pools. If needed, we can definitely do studies on those two ones closer to the road to confirm our hypothesis that they're not functioning.
I think that would be a good idea.
Sure.
Also, in one of the letters, you cite the percentage of development or preservation of the two circles,
Yep.
the 100-foot circle for the envelope.
Yep.
I think you said it was 75%, but it's actually 100% is the recommendation of that 2002 paper that you cited
For the vernal pool envelope?
for the vernal pool envelope. It's
Okay.
also the Army Corps of Engineers best management practice to do 100% of that, not the 75. And instead of the 50% you cited for the critical terrestrial habitat, the larger circle,
Yep.
that's 75% is the correct number for that.
Interesting. I will I'll definitely look into that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
And again, in the interest of demonstrating things,
Mhm.
you talked about the alternative to avoid that northwest wetland and traffic problems and stuff. It might be good to have like a little sketch to show that how that doesn't work very well, just to prove that it's an unavoidable wetland impact.
Okay. That's
It doesn't have to be
definitely
an elaborate thing, but just like, I read the words and it's just hard to understand exactly,
Yeah,
what you're
absolutely.
getting there. Oh, and one last thing on the stormwater. One of them is a detention and one of them is an infiltration structure. I was wondering why they both couldn't be infiltration.
So the idea for the one closer to Fiannaman Road, that one is going to be infiltration. The thought process for the one down behind the warehouse is that the groundwater level is most likely higher there, and so
Okay.
we wanted to ensure that we would have infiltration if we were going to go that route.
Yep. Makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Yep.
That's all I have for now.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave. Dan Popovic?
I do not have anything at this time.
Okay. Mark Simpson?
Yes, to follow up on others, one other person talked about from that retaining wall. You said it was 6 feet to the wetlands. How far from that retaining wall is it to what you say is potentially an active vernal pool?
It's a good question. I don't know that we have that exact dimension, but we can certainly get that.
I do believe it is at least over 100 feet, to the best of my recollection. You can I don't have a good overlay, but you can kind of see that vernal pool in that topography area down there, which is, yeah, more or less it's in that realm of area. But we can definitely get a true dimension on that.
Well, the area has been marked, obviously, there last year. So if we did a site visit, we would be able to see the markings where that potential vernal pool would be. There would be something to identify it. So we have a good visual. Or is that something that can be done?
We can do that. Yes, during our delineation, we did not flag out the vernal pool as its own thing. We just identified the boundary of the wetland.
Boundary, yeah.
But we can put a marker out there if that's helpful for your site walk.
Yeah, just so you can get a perspective of how close you
Understood.
are to the wetlands and then to the vernal pool, because when you find one that's active and looks like it's functioning, the last thing you want to do is do anything to impact it.
Mhm.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Alana?
Yeah, my question is, I'm seeing on the plan, quite a bit of lawn and ornamentals being added in, and for filling in that wetland that you say is not functioning very well, are you bringing an external fill to create those lawn areas?
In terms of where we're filling the wetlands themselves, you're referring to? I mean, the predominantly that's going to be the access drive, as well as the through the mitigation design. There is a bunch of native plantings where the wetlands were. If we can go just down to the mitigation design drawings. Or yeah, so if you see there's not a whole lot of lawn around those wetlands where we're impacting. The only lawn would be up on, I guess, that portion there on the right-hand side of the driveway. Is that where you're referring
Yeah,
to?
that's what I'm referring to.
Okay. Um, that's a good question that we can certainly get an answer for you.
I have no more questions.
Thank you. Frank Roth?
No questions at this time, thank you.
Okay. Um, what's going on with the pool or pond uh just like south of the restaurant? I mean, it's kind of shows you're leaving it in place, but there's an awful lot of uh earthwork that's going on around it. So and is that like what is going in place in that area? Is it going to be? I guess maybe we should go. Like
So
how are you going to leave that, and how are you going to protect that?
correct. That wetlands is going to be, again, this is the isolated wetlands that's in that area. The only grading that is going to be happening is more closer to the road, which is going to keep similar drainage patterns as there are currently. And so we're not, the intent is not to isolate that more than it already is. We're trying to limit the amount of disturbance within the vicinity of it. Again, the only major earthwork is closer to the road of Fieneman Road to get grade down for the restaurant.
So then, like below the restaurant area and next to the pond, is that just going to be a grass area? Is that
Yeah.
or okay?
Yeah.
Bruce, hi, this is Paul Rodriguez from Sully. If you scroll to the landscape slide, it kind of maybe demonstrates it a little bit better and zoom into that
Okay.
area. No, the actual landscape plan, I think it was
Go back
second to
two
last.
slides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that one. And if you zoom in that area, you can kind of see the proposed, so it'll still remain a tree line. And you can kind of see the proposed tree line connecting to the existing tree line along Slater. So that would be a lawn area outside of that.
Okay. Now going to the wall that's in between the wetlands and the in the parking area.
Mhm.
That how tall is that wall?
It's about 6 feet at its highest, I believe.
Okay. And I mean, if a truck is going too fast and crashes over that wall, I mean, then we've got a really incredible disaster going on with leaking fuels right into the wetlands. And how are we going to protect against that?
There will be a guardrail up at the top of the wall. This is, within parking area. I don't, we would like to think that there won't be speeding trucks, but of course there's, you never know. But again, there will be guardrails on the top of the wall to help protect.
Yeah. I've seen trucks crash through guardrails like nothing. But I mean, that's at highway speeds usually, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It seems like we're gonna have to do something very significant there to practice. And then even so, I mean, you have if a truck comes in and then you've got that parking area behind the proposed warehouse and just drives into I mean, are you gonna have, is there gonna be metal beam rail all around this, or how's that gonna go? Yeah, like something like, I mean,
So
when a truck
along
comes in,
that edge, you're saying,
yeah.
back edge. That's something that's a good recommendation. It's something we can certainly look into.
Yeah, right now it's at the wall location. We're just showing curving to along the parking area for now.
Hmm. All right. And to the use of the property, what's the purpose of, well, my basic feeling is there's a lot going on here and we're so close to the wetlands that it seems if we tried to cut back on the uses a little bit, that maybe we could rearrange this and not be so close to the wetland. So like, what is the purpose of having the 28,000 square foot warehouse there? Is that to do work on trucks? This is a truck stop, right? So are people going to do work on their trucks in the truck stop or?
No, it's actually not a truck stop. So our research has found that there's a genuine need in that marketplace for a medium-sized warehouse. We don't want to build an Amazon. We don't want to build a distribution center. And we have a couple of folks that are interested in that type of use. So it's not a truck stop. So those trucks will be specific to the warehouse, not to the truck stop. So the diesel fueling here, the intent here is to be what we call a pump and go, is to service the trucks in this marketplace where they're going out and back, but not staying or parking and staying overnight. So there will be three specific uses. There'll be the restaurant, the travel center, and then the warehouse.
I don't see any loading docks on this warehouse. Where's the loading and unloading taking place?
On the backside there with those parking
Backside
spaces.
there.
There will be that, okay. And and then across from that, there's that row there is for tractor trailer parking. The longer lots, yeah, just
Yeah, on the backside, yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
okay,
And they're going to be subdivided into three separate lots. So you'll see the three separate uses when we go to planning and zoning.
okay. All right, that's all the questions I have now. We're, you know, we want to be able to see this uh land on our sidewalk
Snowshoes?
without all the snow on it, yeah, without snowshoes. So we're gonna need a little bit more time to allow this to happen because I haven't polled yet, but I'm pretty sure people are gonna want a site walk on this from my experience. So um you're willing to work with us a little bit to get this, to give us time to evaluate the property and do a site walk on it?
Absolutely. We expected that request based on the existing conditions for sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, well, first things first, let's Chair entertain a motion to accept the application.
So moved by Dave.
Second by Mark.
Okay, moved and seconded to accept the application. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. I'm gonna vote that we need a site walk for this. So can we'll see how people feel, but can I get a motion to request or to do a site walk on the property?
So moved.
And a second, please.
Seconded.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded that we should do a site walk on the property. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? All right, that motion passes. So we will determine significance after we do the site walk. Bruce, is there anything else we should be considering? Like, how do we figure out when's the best time to do the site walk and still have good access, good enough access?
Well, I've got my calendar here and I did break that out in the uh in the agenda review. So
Yep.
the commission has 65 days to act on the application. They
Right.
also have 65 days to commence a public hearing. So with that being said, that deadline would take us to April 15th. So the commission would either have to open up a public hearing on this date or vote on the application by this date. That's without any extensions being granted. So backing that up, if we suggest that April 15th date is a public hearing or is a vote, or sorry, is a public hearing, backing that up, we would have to notice this by the March 25th meeting. So I would expect a vote at the March 25th meeting of either this being a public hearing or not, or a significant activity as such, a public hearing. And
Mhm.
with that being said, that would put the latest we can do a site walk in as March 22nd. And that again is, like I said, that's without granting any extensions.
Okay. Well, I think, mid to late March, we hopefully we'll be done with the snow. I don't know if we would be expecting any, vernal pool activity, but I guess we could see if the conditions, I mean, their reports are saying that, they are operating under the idea that this, that is an active vernal pool. And so, but, I know everybody wants to see it for themselves. And we'll see if the condition. So why don't we shoot for, you can try and gather a date that everybody can make it in mid-March. Um, so our March meetings are the 4th and the 18th.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So should we look at the 14th or 15th? And
Yeah, we
then,
could do a tentative date on the 15th, cuts it kind of close because I get you to the 18th. So maybe schedule something for the 8th, I'm thinking, as a tentative date. And maybe and maybe Jackson Smith can can kind of elaborate a little bit about a vernal pool study to see where that timing would fall in. So we can, because I know that there's a few commissioners that have concerns with that. So
yeah, myself included. So, all right. So you think we should go for the 8th and then a fallback on the 15th?
I would do a tentative date of the 8th.
All right.
And let's see how we do. If we get a nice southern weather and we can do it earlier, then that's fine. But at this point, it's what do we got now? What are we? I mean, we're already on the 18th, so that's only one. It's only one, two. That's only 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time.
It's not a lot. I mean, we could put that down as a tentative time, and then we could discuss it at the March 4th meeting, see how we are at that point, and then we could look at pushing it out, request an extension, see how you want to do
Yeah.
it, you know?
So if things are still bad by the 8th, then at the 18th, we would request an extension.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've got a total of 65 days that we could use for the extension.
Okay.
So, but like I said, maybe bring Jackson Smith into this conversation, see what for timing of the vernal pool study to see what they feel. Again, it's just going to be guessing at this point because it all depends on the weather.
Mm-hmm. Okay, um, to the soil scientists, or rather the environmental, do you think, what would you expect on the 8th or the 15th in regards to the conditions um for the vernal pool?
That's the $1 million question that all my clients are asking right now. Um, I would say that I think March 8 is going to be really early. Usually you're waiting for what's called big night. That's when they're all migrating to their vernal pools, and for that, it's like a night in like usually the 40s that has a lot of precipitation. So you get that first warm, rainy night. That's when you know your vernal pool season is kicking off. I would expect this year it's probably going to be mid, but probably closer to later March. Mid-March is a possibility if we keep getting some good rain over the next couple weeks instead of snow.
Thank you. So Bruce, you don't think the 15th gives us enough time to prepare for make a decision on the 18th?
No, I'm just
Kind of
saying it's
close.
putting it close in terms of if there was any questions, but I mean, the 8th is, I mean, like I said, we can do we can, if everyone is available, or sorry, I can't keep saying that the Sunday, but if everyone's available those 2 weekends, right? Uh,
Mhm.
we could block out two of those and just shoot and then just readdress it
All right.
at the fourth, during the fourth
Okay.
meeting, we could say, hey, look, you know what? The weather's been great. We'll go ahead with the 7th or the 8th, or if not, you know what? Let's give it a one more week and we'll go back or we'll hit the 14th and the 15th. It's tough
Okay.
because it's so far out and there's so much snow out there right now, you know?
Yeah.
What
Okay.
what's the commission feel? Do they have any opinions?
Let's hope. Yeah. Anybody else have feelings about when they would want to do the sidewalk? Please speak up.
Personally, I have classes on Saturday, so if it was another day, I would prefer that.
Okay. Well, when we say that we're talking about the weekends, we could do it the
Mhm.
Saturday or the Sunday. I think we're 8th and the 15th are Sundays.
Mhm.
Um, so oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong month here. Hold on. Yeah, yeah, the 8th and the 15th are Sundays. Okay. So let's we can make the final decision on the 4th at the meeting on the 4th, but I'll ask people to try and tentatively, save some time on Sunday the 8th or Sunday the 15th, and we'll set the site walk for what we think is the best time to get a good feel for the property. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to
Okay.
me. It's Mark.
Fine with me.
All right. Okay. Um, to the applicant, could you have some of the highlights of the property? I would like to know where that wall is. I think that's could you get someone to stake out approximate locations of the wall and
Yeah, I know at part of the pre-app meeting we had with the town, we discussed staking out the building corners
yeah.
prior to the site walk, but we can also stake out the wall as well.
Yeah, just a few points on along the wall. We could figure it out from there.
Absolutely.
Will
All
these
right.
flags be in for the wetlands, the small pockets? Are those still there, you think?
I don't know.
Yeah, those I think I want to see those as well.
Verify that, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Was that a question about if the flags are still
yeah, if
there
if
at the
they're not
top?
there, we definitely probably would want to see those, reflagged or marked, not reflagged, but marked out, so they
Yeah.
know where the wetlands are.
Yep, I believe I was out there in November. They were still there, but if I go out there before your tentative site walk to put some flags down at the vernal pool areas, I can recheck and hang some new ones.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much again for your very thorough presentation, and we'll keep working on it.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate time.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, moving on to old business. Cease and desist, 114 West Haven Road.
Spoke with the owner with 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 the winter, of course, she's still working on it.
Yeah.
She's got a proposal with a local surveyor, so she'll be getting back to me on some with some information on that. So again, with the amount of snow, I think we've more or less kind of surmised that it would probably be a late winter, early spring thing. So
Yeah.
I'll get back to you guys when we have that. All right.
Okay. Is there any other business?
Under old business, no,
All right. How about other business?
nothing on that.
And the planner's report?
Planners report, I do have something small. It came up just yesterday, so I just wanted to review this with the commission if they don't mind. Um, let's start here. For the new members and as well as the old members, there was a approval of a project notes here. Back in 23, late 23 on New Britain Avenue. Give me a second to get my bearings here. Here we go. The highway department is right here. All right, and that's that vacant parcel that's between the highway and the M&J bus facility here.
Mm-hmm.
There was a approval for some I call them business condos, contractor condos. It's where they would have
Yeah.
multiple storage areas for all kinds for that smaller contractor, heating supply, landscaper, yada yada yada, that kind of stuff. So
The
that
one
was
that's
what's
along
that?
the trail, right?
Yeah, exactly. The trail is right here. So they had come in 20, got it approved in November 23. A year later, they came back and asked for a modification. And give me that. I'm going to pull it up. Give me a second here.
They're working there. I see a lot of
Yep. No,
construction
understood.
going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, he did the clearing. So here's my screenshot. All right. So they came back in November of 24 for a request. So this is what was approved in 2024. What they did is they took the infiltration basin. Okay. You know what? Let me do one more thing, which I didn't do for the people that don't know what's going, that people that were not involved with this. Okay. So highway department is over here. The M&J bus repair facility is here. Here's New Britain Avenue, and here's the bike trail. Okay. So the lot is pretty much cleared in full as it is, as you see, if anyone has driven by. So there'll be three buildings, one, two, three. There's an stormwater infiltration system here, and there's a detention basin here. All right. So as I was saying, this is what the commission the commission approved back in November 2024 the extension of this parking area to increase some impervious area right near the detention basin. They came in as another application. As a matter of fact, because it was a kind of a little bit more disturbance than what was approved than what was originally approved. Since that time, so now it takes us to today, they're looking to tweak it again. So what they're looking to do is, as you can see, is they're going to be, give me a second here. Yes. So they're looking to make this basin a little bit bigger. They're going to be deleting some of this impervious area here. So they're actually going back closer to the original plan per se, where they're going to reduce some of this impervious and grade this up a little, increase this up a little different. And they're also going to be grading along this embankment a little bit more. So landscaping plan stays the same, which is what I had shown here. So here's the basin, here's the trees. They're going to have this full landscaping along that westerly buffer. Okay. So it's kind of a minor improvement or change. I'm thinking it maybe doesn't need a wetlands permit, but I just wanted to bounce it off the commission to see what their thoughts are, to see if anyone had any concerns, anything other than what I've stated here, and just so.
I'm still trying to follow it a little bit.
Okay.
So, are they shrinking the size of the infiltration pond? So where you have that X, is that going to be?
Yes, give me a second here. Yep, let me go back to here. Maybe I tried to do the screenshot so everyone can see it a little different. Which one is this here? True conceptual planting. There's the one here. I think this is it here. So this is the original detention basin here, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
And now they're looking to expand it into this area here. So they're going to be enlarging the basin, getting rid of the impervious area here.
Okay.
So they're going to be removing this
Oh.
impervious area here, enlarging the basin, and they're not going to be going as deep. They're going to raise the bottom about a foot. So it'll be a foot higher than what was originally approved, hence the reason for enlarging it, I think, as well. So.
And then some of that is going to run off directly into that, from just
this
that
will
immediate
run off.
area.
Yeah, this was always shown to come off into here, into the basin. So it's only this little small portion in here. Everything else will go out in through the infiltration system, overflow, and come into the stormwater basin, fill up, and then go out this way eventually through
Okay.
the outlet control structure.
So you're asking us if I mean, if this is whether or not this is significant enough for us to have to take action on it?
Well, for a new permit is what I'm getting. I'm looking at it saying it's already in an approved disturbed area.
Yeah.
The commission had approved a year ago, or I'm sorry, yes, a little over a year ago, 24, yeah, 2024, the increase in impervious area to go from lawn to go to impervious. So he's actually going backwards now, and making the pond a little bit bigger. So there's no additional clearing. There's no other impacts off-site or outside of what was originally approved. I just wanted to, because it was this area that they came back for that permit, I just wanted to bounce it off of you guys just to get your opinion or confirmation that you agree with what I feel.
Okay. What do people think? Anybody here think we should hear this again, or if the changes are minor?
This stretch, I think it's de minimis. I mean, the intent that the amount of disturbance is the same or maybe a little bit less. I don't think we need to see it again.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd agree. This is Dave. Less impervious surface.
Yeah.
Sounds okay to me.
I agree as well. I don't think we need to hear this. I think, yeah, like Dave says, it's less impervious, it's more holding. So it's going to be roughly the same holding area, just that it'll be a little less depth to it, but it's going to be more square footage area.
It'd be the volume. I haven't got into the stormwater report with them, but based on what they're showing me here, the volume it's still going to it's still gonna treat and reduce the peak for up to the 100-year storm. So it's because by actually raising the bottom a foot, you've now decreased the volume, so they now have to make it bigger. So,
Okay.
does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, I think, the fact that they're here working with you in the town is they're trying to get it done right. So I think this is, within your purview
Okay.
to work with them.
I don't need a vote. I just wanted to be I just wanted to, if anyone had any opposition, just feel free to jump in, but I just wanted to bounce it off you guys.
Okay.
All right.
All right. We have the minutes of the January 7th meeting. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of January 7th.
So moved.
And a second, please.
Seconded.
Thank you. And so the motion's been made and second to approve the minutes of January 7th. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. So without anything else, I would like to adjourn the meeting at 8:27. And call the meeting to order of the Conservation Commission. Is there any new business, Bruce?
Nope.
Any other business?
I do with the area over here. Yep. Nope.
Planners report?
No, sir.
Okay. Then the chair will introduce, chair will accept a motion to approve the minutes of January 7th Conservation Commission meeting.
So moved, Mark.
Okay.
Second,
All right, motion been made and seconded. Did you get that? Who?
I didn't hear the second.
Dave, seconds.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes of January 7th Conservation Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. And with that, I can get to watch the end of the Yukon game.
All right. I just want to touch base or just remind the commission if they can please hold those dates of March 8th and March 15th
Yep.
open. If anyone has any concerns, just please shoot me an email or give me a call. Let me know, and we'll try to work on some other dates. All right. But if those dates are kind of open for everyone, then just let me know. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Everyone have a great night.
All right. Thank you
You
very
too.
much.